All right, you can go. We're live now. Thank you very much.
Okay, just 1 minute. Minutes, okay, got it. Okay, I was initially giving the definition of what human factors are, and it refers to the environmental, organizational, and job factors that include human and individual characteristics, which influence behavior at work in a way which can affect health and safety. This definition is according to health and safety executives of the UK. And what are the things we are talking about? Human factor as a principle include the job, the individual, the organization. If you look at the slide, on the left talked about those things, and on the right, you now look at the tasks and characteristics, the individual and their competencies, the organization and its attribute. How these three factors interplay to help in the management of safety, to help us move away from things we have traditionally been fighting to get it resolved. How is it that all of this brings to bear what health and safety management will look like in the near future? So rather than viewing HSE management in the old ways of thinking where individual error is focused on and investigations are primarily focused on who is responsible, then assigning of blames and maybe trying to get some lessons from what people have done, the human factor approach to safety is a broader aspect of it now. Is a scope that includes the job factor, the individual factor, the organizational factor, that all interplay in bridging safety defenses, which results to accidents. When all of these things are not put in their right perspective, that there is need that they will bridge all the barriers and defenses. So this is the paradigm shift we are seeing today in the world. There's been, what we have been practicing so long is what they call the safety 1. We are now moving into safety 2, which is part of the quantum management of safety. What does the old thinking has? Is a factor weakening safety that always focus on unsuccessful actions, risks, and error. So people are error-eccentric. Look at things in that perspective. So individual, who is responsible? Why was this done? So as a result, you see organization looking for what they call the bad people, often inside the concept of the bad apple theory. We'll talk a little bit about it. Then they look for the weakest link and then let's throw them away. They are the ones who are causing problems in the system. And they forget one important aspect of safety, health and safety management, which is the latent systemic failure. And oftentimes the latent systemic failure remains in the system unresolved. That's the old thinking. So this discussion is to help us look forward, move away, now start thinking, transiting to safety 2, where the factors maintaining safety are the main focus. How things are working well, understanding human variations, what kind of people, culture, environment that influence family, that influence life. What are the resources available? And at that point, the new thinking will involve organization, system, resource, and development. So all of these contribute to things behind that makes people make mistakes, cause problems, and safety or health is not properly managed. Where can we learn? What is the goal of investigation? Not just only to learn, can it be a footstool for further improvement and encouragement? Human error is, at this point, going to be a starting point for improvement, not the conclusion. So we'll find who caused the problem. It is because they did not follow this. Now, before they did not follow that, a lot of things built up to that. So this is the new thinking. It's system that support, a thinking that supports system and human resilience, the ability to anticipate, cope, recover, learn, and help people to succeed. That's what behavioral safety, which is just part of the quantum management in safety or leadership in safety is talking about. That's what it is. Help people to succeed. And how can we do that? Now, what are some of the things we need to talk about in terms of bad apple theories and the likes? It's very, very important we look at this. First, people think to say human failures lie behind the majority of remaining accidents. Human errors are the dominant cause of remaining troubles that hasn't been engineered or organized that way yet. People complain in offices, safety rules, prescriptive procedures and management treatises are supposed to control this element of erratic human behavior. But why are they not doing that? And a lot of thinking persons are saying, we put a lot of safety control, but they are undercut by unreliable, unpredictable people who still don't know what they are supposed to do. And oftentimes the accusing finger is on the staffs who are not doing what they are supposed to do. And some people say some bad apples keep negative attitude towards safety, which adversely affect their behavior. So not attending to safety is a personal problem, a motivational one, an issue of mere individual choice. That's what a lot of people are thinking. This is part of the bad apple theory that says, okay, we have bad apple amongst us. Now the last part says, basically safe system of multiple defenses carefully constructed by organization is undermined by those who they consider to be erratic people. All we need to do is to protect it better from their vicissitude. So protect them. One way to protect is get that guy sacked or tell these people they are not doing well. In the event of accidents, fingers are being pointed and said, yeah, this is what we had to do, even to the top management level. I'm forgetting that there are three factors involved: the job, the individual, and the organization. So this takes us to a little things. Let's get a small video. I want this video to give us a small clue to what we do, and we discuss few other aspects of it. Like I said, it's a very lengthy one, and is a very good subject that if I have all it takes, at least it takes a minimum of 15 minutes. But I don't think I'll have that, benefits and leisure to do all of that considering the time constraints. So let's look at what this video talks about in human factors. Just pay a little attention.
In life, everything does not go as we expect. Same is true in companies. Although everyone is doing what they should do, the technicians are busy, the inspector is inspecting, the manager is managing, the machines and procedures are functioning properly. Despite everything, accidents happen, and the culprit is usually obvious: human error. It seems that human behavior is the only way to explain the inexplicable. But are we so sure? Okay, humans are fallible, but they also contribute a lot to safety. They're capable of adapting to unexpected situations, to overcome unexpected issues. They're aware when risk increases. So are they guilty? It's time to change the way we view human error and see it not as the root cause, but as a consequence of other defects that can only be detected when scanned through the lens of organizational and human factors in safety. Okay, people are one of the factors, as we are all different and in varying states. That's normal. But there are other factors: work situations, working during the day or at night, using new or old equipment, during peak production or slack times, many combinations for the same task. And what can we learn from teams? That team cohesion is a safety factor, but a bad atmosphere increases everyone's risk of error. And finally, the organization and management factor. Do managers really listen? Do they set a good example? Are procedures clear or ambiguous? Are cost reductions given higher priority than safety? These four factors combine and influence human behavior, and often unacceptable behavior merely reflects unfavorable conditions. Focusing on organizational and human factors gives people the resources to do their work well and safely. It's useful for tracking down the grit that is causing the organization's gears to seize up. And there's no need to wait for the next accident to examine the organizational and human factors in safety. It's an ongoing process that improves workers' lives daily, their well-being at work, and ultimately, the overall operations of the company.
Thank you. That's exactly what we're talking. That's the thinking. So let's put these in what looks like a Venn diagram. What puts us in perspective? We see the individual, we see the job, we see the organization, all interplaying, interacting, and interfacing to affect what humans do. Now, if you expand it, balloon it a little bit, we could see what those behaviors are. So if we take competency, skills, personality, attitude, and risk perception, all of these are what individuals brings to job. And they are influenced by the society, by the environment, by the culture. Each one of us leave our homes to a workplace with our problems. And how does this play out? It can be reduced so that it does not affect job based on how the job is designed. What kind of task is it? Is it a routine job? What's the workload? What's the environment? Do people have the freedom to do things the way they should do? Do you have display and controls that are clear for people to understand? And the procedures like is mentioned in that video, is it simple enough? Then what of the organization? Does it have a culture, not just the safety culture, but the organizational culture that allows for learning? There is what they call learning organization. That learning organization that encourage learning and knowing what people really are and what they are for and what they do will be reflected in the way the leadership handles things. How do they allocate resources? You see there, do we just favor cost cutting in place of health and safety? And what's the work pattern for those who work shift and all of that? The communication. So look at it, expand it more, you will see the organizational factors. Because of time, I will not talk more on all of this. I just want to scan it through and we go. The external factors that affect us, we could see them in a little bit not too clear images and writings. You see labor unions, change work of work. COVID has changed our world today. Are there legislations and regulations that are affecting the way work is being carried? They play in the human factor relationship. What is the management practice? All of these things put together, galvanized together to form what the human factor is and the way we should look at safety in the current way. We are moving to that extent now. In process safety, there is what they call Six Sigma. And very soon, Six Sigma approach to safety management will be now something adopted in leadership and management of safety. So all of this forms up a bright color that puts things together. Put them in circle, there is no way you can deal with one without the other. So when you look at safety in your organization, don't just look at it from one perspective, look at it from the other. So I will just break it down fast, what these things are at work. Number one, you talk about human failure, where you see errors, distractions, and violations. Number two, you talk about procedures that are not clear, lack of clarity. They are lengthy, voluminous, and complicated. Three, you talk about competency and training. And today is a pain, really pain in the neck. You see most adverts saying people who's got experience, they will come. And what is happening is that because every advertisement, especially in our profession, is saying you must have so years of experience, people are now fabricating things, putting a whole lot in place. And you get someone into the office and really cannot deliver. But what happens to the idea of letting people learn along the line? Even if you don't have the experience, but do you have what it takes, the mindset to carry on? We should look at that area. So for you to talk about the staffing, do you let people work in the organization in silo and there is no team spirit, a lot of complacency because the leadership doesn't care either? Then organizational changes like MOC, we talked about that in our PDC. How do you manage those changes? It's not just only changes with the things that happens in the plant. If you bring in new things, the new policy, a policy has been reviewed, there are ways job has to be done. Go to the staffs and talk to them, employees, not just only CBT, okay, computer-based training, or you communicate with mails. There are times safety leaders has to leave their offices, go to the various places and talk to them. Do a good town hall meetings and discuss matters. The lack of safety critical communication, there are areas that are very, very, very important that you just don't take for granted. You have to talk about that. Human factor is also seen in design of things. Now, design, prevention through design is not just only in the machine. If you have to bring in a rule, you have to do what? Find a way to counter things that will result to those rules being broken by including those who are involved, those who will carry out the rules. In that way, you are preparing what? For a good outcome for that. People support what they followed. Now you go ahead, what is the work pattern, fatigue, stress, and all of that? Organizational culture, norms, and this place part. They are all the places we see human factor plays. How do we do it? People say, this is the way we do it in our place. And guys are afraid. Then you go into poor maintenance, lack of inspection, faulty testing, unavailability of tools. All of these things are there. So if you look into all these things I mentioned, take time. Because of it, I wouldn't go deep. Take time to digest. You could see the individual part of it. You could see the job aspect of it. You could see the organizational aspect. Always view this. We will always have to view this to get the right thing we want, the way we want to move safety forward. So I won't talk about this now because there are human failures, just to catch up with time. Let's just bear in mind that there are inadvertent and deliberate ones, breaking down to errors and mistakes and violations, but I will leave it for now. But note one thing I want us to know in the middle is not so clear, but it's just deliberately done. Performance influencing factors. Remember this, we'll talk about it briefly. Performance influencing factors. What are they and how they do? But there is this table. I would have loved us to skip it, but let me just do a small thing about it. If you notice from the bottom, you see 0.9, 0.5, 0.25. Now, there is something it's telling us. If you start at the bottom of human error table, this is the human error table. Notice how the error rate drops as we move upward from complicated non-routine tasks to routine tasks with what? With care, and routine simple tasks. For complicated tasks, there is an error of 1 in every 10. For instance, fail to act correctly after 1 minute in emergency. You can see people tell you in emergency they are driving because of the quick decisions to make. Instead of stepping on the brake pedal, they step on the throttle, which even lead to a worse situation. So people make mistakes when jobs, things, plans are so complicated. So every 10, there is always going to be an error. Fail to notice wrong position of bar. But if you move further up, take the first part on the left where you say record information or read graphic wrongly. They make, that is now a routine task because they are used to it. It's a little more simpler. They make 1 mistake in every 100. Yes, every 100 activities done, they make 1 mistake. But if it's an everyday thing they do, every day, every other day, the mistake will even whittle down to 1 in 1,000. So the lesson therein is to help in human failure and human factor in organization. All of this should come to play in such a way that we will help to get away from. Sorry about that. All right. So let's always focus on making jobs as simple as possible and just in view of time. Now, these are the areas. How do we manage the human factors in terms of risk assessment, near misses, analyzing accidents, and analyzing incidents? Mind you, I'm taking this because we have a lot of other things to do so that we'll go. It's not as detailed as I would have wanted it to do. But I want us to look at on our left and on our right. If you are making risk, in the middle where you have blue, we see the defenses. These are defenses, barriers that are built to enable these things not to lead to top events, become failure. But human factor analysis has shown us that in organizations where they have not really taken into cognizance, we see things like poor hazard identification, wrong exposures, identification, poor risk evaluation, wrong or lack mitigations and control measures, just for a brief. And if we go to accident, we see things like, you can ask questions like, what defenses failed? What is the mode or function? Now, how did each of these defenses fail? Because you are analyzing, you try to see. And when you ask questions like, how did each defense fail? You are not just looking at the operator, you are not just looking at the engineer, the technician who did the job. And there are things behind that has led to that failure. Okay? Where they are contributing on safe acts, what workplace factors and organizational factors failed? Resources were provided? Do they have the right tools? So all of this is what we do. The video tells us that just a human failure, just one error is not the root cause. There is a whole lot. And I don't want to go in deep because it takes our time. But when these bridges are, the defenses are breached or broken, it leads to serious problems, which we all know. Problems like this. You have fire and burning and everywhere it's deep, deep shade. People start running everywhere. Today, safety is moving away from those traditional things to really look at humans as the real things playing, all those things that are affecting them from job to organization and the person itself. So why do we do this analysis? Identify recurrent errors, identify how and why defenses fail, identify upstream failure and root causes. So yeah, a valve was not closed, or some guys went to do job, he did not wear the right tools and he got electrocuted, or somebody had an accident on the road, he was sleeping. Why would he sleep? No, not just end up there. Now, extrapolate, go back in time all the way. You would have seen these issues coming up somewhere in the office, somewhere in an AC room. So the root cause may not be just the one in the front, and rectify the systemic weakness, because that which happens in the quiet and air conditions office is where the systemic failure first occurs. And that's what human factor is trying to get us through. So if we have to manage it, I'm a little bit fast now. If we have to manage this, let's note two failures: active failure and latent failure. Now, active failures have an immediate consequence and are usually made by frontline people such as drivers, control room staffs, or machine operators. In a situation where there is no room for error, these active failures have an immediate impact on health and safety. And which is why when they happen, the first thing is, this is the people. That's where everybody focuses. But the truth is that the latent failure, which he says are made by people whose tasks are removed in time and space from operational activities such as decision makers and managers. Latent failures are typical failures in health and safety. Design things like implementations and monitoring. And many times people don't know about it. Investigation doesn't get to. So human factor is going back to that, bringing the operator or organizational factor into play. So I'll just move fast so that we get on. These are things, okay? What are active failure? What are latent failure? We see all of these: unintentional errors for active failure, mistake, intentional errors. Then latent failures: poor designs of plant and equipment, ineffective training, inadequate supervision, bureaucracy, inadequate funding and resources. These are all how it is broken down. I won't do this now because of time constraint, but this is a roadmap a roadmap for management of major accident hazard from the perspective of human factor analysis in organization. The bottom line is that if it is properly done, it provides assured human performance. So one way of ensuring that we get rid of the negative part of human factor is to optimize the performance influencing factor. Remember, I mentioned that earlier. And funny enough, all the things that are factors that influences the way we do job or carry out our work are exactly the things that affects us negatively. So I will take one, for instance, a typical case. Let's look at an individual. He's got a characteristics. He has action. He's self-aware. His experience is there. His skill is there. Competency, mindset, mental disposition, and the family relationship. To work on the aspect of human factor, anything an organization will make to bring out the best of the person in these attributes. He behaves in the best way. He carries out the best of action. He knows what he has to do. He's situationally aware based on training, his experience. Does he have enough? Why would he not be trained more? The skills, how would you identify how well he does? The things he does, do you put him or her in that place? His competencies, even if he's not as performing to expectation, can you build up that competence to the point that it's going to come to fruition in a way that people will like it? How is the job environment affect the person's mindset? When we put all of this, we work on this, galvanize it to the point of optimizing the person's way of doing things, we will reduce human failures. We will reduce the accidents and incidences that we all strive today to take away from safety. I'll just take one aspect of that, but that's what it does. Performance influencing factors. They are exactly this negative part of it, but look at it on the positive, optimize it, make it, bring out the best in all of the factors. So we are moving away now from part of it is that we are going to go, there is this thing we normally do, they call it POPMA. POPMA is an acronym for policy, organization, planning, measuring, performance, audit, and review. That's the model that we are practicing right now. But a lot of people are implementing it. Organizations are going into the what? Plan, do, check. Just go. I won't talk about this. Look at how you plan your things and get it going in the right way you should do. Away from the Newtonian approach. What we are doing now is move away from safety 1 to safety 2. So as professionals, let's start making that move one step after the other. Prepare yourself. If you have opportunity for further training, start training people. Let's get away from the regimental things of, okay, the young guys can handle all the things you talk about, standard and regulations. But the focus is on leadership now, how well you lead, because it is only leadership that can take the organic form of human in work environment to the positive side. We must work towards that. It is the only way out of it. So in view of time, I want us to do this self-check. Let's do this check. I love this when I was reading. It says, while we try to make our system safer and safer, human contributions to trouble remains stubbornly high. As a matter of fact, 70%. We have long put our hopes for improving safety on tightening the bandwidth of human performance even further. We introduce more automation to try to get rid of unreliable people. We write additional procedures. We reprimand errant operators and tell them that their performance is unacceptable. We train them some more. We supervise them better. We tighten regulations. But it doesn't work. That's why every day we are fighting to improve. It's not working. Why is that the case? Look at this. These are all hopes and ideas that have, to a great extent, now become bankrupt. They are in the things of the past. Because the reality is that people do not come to work to do a bad job. Nobody does that. No. We leave our home for a purpose. We want to do good work and to be rewarded. The truth is that safety is in complex systems is not a result of getting rid of people, of reducing their degrees of freedom. Rather, in complex systems, safety is created by people through practice at all levels of organization, where what happens? Multiple irreconcilable goals, such as efficiency. Organizations are looking for efficiency. They also want to get safety. They want to increase their throughput. They want to make themselves comfort and fine. They want to increase their financial bottom line. All of these things are in interplay, and they are fighting for our attention. And if you look at them, spread them together, they fall into these three factors: the job, the individual, the organization. So it's a complex system that has to be understood, rather than just following the fact that one person is not able to do the things he or she is supposed to do and the way he has to carry on with it. So this is the thing I want us to think. I will quickly round up here because I'm just being time conscious. Let's move. We will not do all of this. There is a whole lot here. Some questions and scenario. But let's look this. You see this? This is the last part. Underneath every simple, obvious story about error, there is a deeper, more complex story. Every error, every mistake the guy in the field made, there is something big back in the office. Every simple error, accident that happens, is it what is called the BP, Gulf of Mexico thing? Even in Nigerian context, the last one that happened in Lagos, the collapse of building, is it Piper Alpha? Go back, read it, follow they will tell you at the end of the day, it's not just the frontline guys. It is the latent systemic failure. And that latent systemic failure is because people are unable to decipher the interplay between job, individual, and organization in this environment where a lot of things are competing. So guys, fellow professionals, we will have to move forward. What are we moving forward? We should move away, start lifting ourselves, getting out of the traditional safety things we do every day. Everyone go near misses, failure, risk. No, we have to go more, especially for the veterans and experienced ones. We should move into understanding this complex aspect of things. And the world is becoming complex anyway. And until we move towards safety 2, quantum safety management, which behavioral safety is part of it, human factor analysis is there. And it is the only way we can sustain safety and health in our organization. I know this is very brief. It was a paper I prepared for a technical presentation for ISPON, which is much more time given, where I would have done elaborate thing, but it goes a long way to talk the direction we are moving. And this is my area of interest, and I've been moving towards it. I want every one of us to really appreciate this. If in your own time, do some good research. So let me say thank you and give room for people to do 1 or 2 questions. That's about it. Thank you all, Nande, for Victor. Here we go.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. George. Thank you. Please refer to my WhatsApp message and give me feedback, please. So thank you very much for this wonderful message. Confirm you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, thank you very much for this one. So questions from participants. If you have any questions, just like we gave in our safety brief, you just raise up your hand, we'll identify you, we'll call upon you to speak. So if you have questions, can you just use the raise icon button to just raise your hand up. Then when we identify you, we'll mute you so you can speak. If you're also shy to speak, you can also drop your questions on the chat box. We'll read it, and I believe Mr. George will respond adequately. Does it mean there are no questions for this very insightful presentation?
Okay, if there are no questions, let me do one thing so that we'll go with that. Let it serve as a question for us. Would you mind me doing that, please? It will just be one. Let me do it. Would that be fine?
Let's just give them additional 1 more minute.
Fine, yeah.
Let's give them additional 1 more minute. All right, Mr. George, you can go ahead with.
Okay. I know it's a little bit this topic and things is the new thing. It's coming along, but sometimes it could be very, very funny. Eh? And let me just do this quick one. It was designed for us to use as this. Right. Which one should I use now? I'm trying to find one. Okay. Let's go to the first one. Okay. So this is a typical scenario. I want people to give their viewpoints an idea. Two similar named chemicals were manufactured at a chemical work in batch reaction. Each requires the presence of an organic base to maintain alkalinity. To prevent exothermic side reaction, development work was in progress, which involved altering the various ratios of chemicals in each reaction. Now, here is the question. A chemist, in calculating the quantity of inorganic base required, inadvertently transposed the figure, a typical slip error. Eh? As a result, one reaction was carried out with only 70% of the required base present. An exothermic side reaction resulted. The subsequent explosion destroyed the plant. The system was what? Not designed to cope with a runaway exothermic reaction. There was no system for checking the calculation. So in this scenario, I want anybody to just say something. The first point of action is going to be who? In case of one is saying where the mistake came, where the error come from, what has led to that. Victor, you can also, who would people readily point and why would they do that? Anybody can moderate and answer, please. Can just raise the, I can't see you, but you can just say that you speak up, unmute and answer. Who should we in this instance talk and point and say, this is where this whole error came from, where the plant got exploded and destroyed, all of this? Who will be readily the person in the news for a long time? I hope I'm not alone here. Anyway, in a typical situation, all right, somebody wants to say something?
Well, I'm looking at the engineering design.
Aha.
I wouldn't know if just my thought anyway.
No, it's not just your thought, it's part of the thought. Now, if you say an engineering design from that perspective, what aspect of the human factor relationship are we referring to now? You will find out that the engineering design is pointing now to the organization. Okay, so the first thing we see in this regard is the chemist. But all the way back, right from the inception, the design phase, the thinking, there has been what? What has been neglected? A human factor not into play. But look what is this now. I'm just looking at this. Some people will look at it. The installation was not fitted with a drive-away what? This answer is not what it's supposed to be. I think it's designed for this. Let me take this back. So basically, the system was not designed to cope with a runaway exothermic reaction, which he has rightly said. So everything will go back to that human, the part of organizational arrangement. So rather than saying, okay, he did not not follow or did not follow all the safety requirements, the things, the procedures, he has to look. When we do investigation, it does not absolve the person from, corrections and all of that. But the idea is humans make mistakes. We should not focus on the mistake. We should focus on what has led to those mistakes. And many times those things that led to the mistakes that for the people at the forefront and the front line make is often behind, either from our homes, from our offices, from our leadership perspective. I just want to use this bit to let us know there are many scenarios here created, and in view of time, we may not be able to do all of that. That's just the little I want to share.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. Thank you so much. That was very insightful. So we'll just go ahead. It's our custom for us to always recognize distinguished people like you who make this unanimous sacrifice to equip us with some form of knowledge. So we'd like to present the certificate to you on behalf of the president and every other high school. So I'd like to present the certificate of recognition to you. I appreciate your unwavering support anytime we call upon you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And God bless you. So we'll send this across to you. As usual.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate that too.
Thank you. So once more, I think it's good that we give a round of applause to, can do a virtual round of applause to Mr. George. That was very, very interactive and very insightful. So at this point, we would like to go over to the minutes of meeting, go into the bi-monthly meeting proper, where we would read the minutes of meeting, and then call for adoption.
All right. Thank you, sir. I think somebody.
Yeah, you want to say something?
Somebody left his phone on mute. Let's ask everyone to mute his phone. To mute his phone. So go ahead, Secretary. Let's go for the minutes.
All right, President, confirm you can hear me. Can you hear me, President?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, Sec.
All right. All right, so let me just share what I have. I know that the last bi-monthly meeting that we had was immediately after the PDC, and most of the executive was in transit back to their location. We had to convert it to virtual, and the meeting started on exactly 10 o'clock. The opening prayer, second stanza of the national anthem was recited. The president gave his opening remark and appreciated everyone for their commitment and support for the just completed PDC, though he was on transit, so he had to drop earlier to continue his transit. He was on transit to Kaduna to go and visit one of our very own Commodore, who lost his mother just a few days before that meeting. Then the technical presentation was done by Mr. George, who spoke on human factor in HSC management, very insightful. We had contribution from participants and all. Treasurer Mr. Festus thanked him on the topic and emphasized that this topic is very important to the workplace at this time. Myself was on transit, so the minutes of meeting was not read. But some of the discussions that was discussed during the meeting on that day was the condolences message for Commodore Stanley Zachary, who lost his mother a few days before a few days before the bi-monthly meeting. I think that was on the Friday or Saturday or Thursday, if I may be correct. And then which the president was already on his way to pay a condolences visit to his family. This opportunity to thank the president for his unwavering sacrifice that he made on that day to travel to go and see the family immediately after that news was announced. So we also, the PDC chairman, Dr. Okando, gave feedback and remark on just completed PDC. And we also discussed the ASSP Global Conference that is coming up sometimes in June. And we also discussed the WISE upcoming workshop, which was done on the 30th of April, which was very successful. So the AOB, people gave feedback concerning the PDC, especially Mr. George. Mr. George mentioned something with respect to us building more. He said we should build we should improve on our communication. The next PDCs that are coming, the communication was not top notch, and he spotted that we need to improve on our communication and also other things that he advised on. So that was it. Sorry for this, because that day was a really glitchy day. A lot of us was on transit, so we just had to do what we had to do. So at this point, we'll call for any comments or feedback with respect to what has been read.
Right, and I think that day, if I could remember, somebody raised an advice that instead of us, having two things at a time, prayers and also second standard, the tradition that we must adopt one or something like that. And I answered the person that yes, it's just because of we are all on transit, so that's why even the agenda came up with that. Under normal circumstances, we always go with the second standard in that one, but it's not bad that way. But we make that there was that observation at that day. I think those are the things that has not been okay.
I also have an observation to make. That on the technical paper presented, that wasn't the topic though, because what you have there is today's topic. What was presented was psychological safety. Why is it important in improving safety culture and how to create it? Later on, I would just give you the full detail, or I'll send it on the chat so you correct it. What you have today is what I presented today.
Psychology safety. Come again, because I'm writing it right here. Psychology safety. What? Mr. George, confirm you can hear me.
I can hear you. It's actually,
what did you say?
Psychological safety. Okay. Why is it important in improving safety culture?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
So
at this point, if you can call for. Okay, you want to say something?
It's not there. Sec.
You want mention?
You share it on the screen.
You said?
Okay. The agenda, it's not there on the screen here.
Okay, because I shared the minutes of meeting, but I'm trying to impute the comment you people made. That's why I have to disconnect it.
Oh, sorry.
So you want me to put up the agenda right away? Because we've not adopted the meeting. So people are still making comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any more comments? Okay, we have no comments. We can call for adoption.
I have one more comment.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I remember clearly. We talked about things like when we have to organize the PDC. The last time we had this technical paper presented, and many persons were not really informed with respect to how is it going to be carried out. We eventually had it virtually, while people stayed back for in-person. So subsequently, we will have to, if we are saying is a 3-day conference, let's live up to that 3 days conference. Right, because some people paid, complaints were like, okay, I paid for hotel for this number of days when I should have gone home. So I think that was mentioned and for us to carry on.
Okay, yeah. I think if I remember, yes, I even answered that one at that time. What I said at that time was it happens due to unforeseen circumstances that came to us when one of our member, a highly respected person there, lost his mom. So we disorganized ourselves at that moment because there are so many things within. So, and already prior to that, we are thinking of making it virtual. So, but there was some little information gap within that period. That what led to that. I think I have answered that one, and yes, we dragged it out, but we said we have took the advice given by Mr. George Olon. Thank you.
All right. Is there any other comments before we move?
Yes, Secretary. I was thinking of waiting to conclude, but since the president just said something, I want to. Please, I wouldn't want a situation. I'm standing by what Mr. just said, because I was very ill and I was not at the meeting. Apart from personally that I wasn't happy, it wasn't a good precedence at all. Our program said 3 days. President said somebody died, was very important. We know that and we respect that fact. But our program would have gone on. Because if we said 3 days, as at that time, I feel that it was not that death. I feel we were not prepared. Because on ground at Abuja, I was talking with the PDC chairman, there was no venue paid for already. So it was as if it was planned, but people were not communicated. Because from the very beginning, you added Saturday to it. Personally, students were stranded. We were supposed to leave Saturday. But because a lot of them look forward to bi-monthly meeting for physical, and they stayed till Sunday. And then there was no good communication. A lot of people paid flight tickets from Sunday or Saturday evening to attend the PDC. So it's been our tradition that after PDC, come bi-monthly meeting. That's the fullest. We expected that all Abuja people that have not been traveling since, they'll be able to be there in person. Those that came all the way from wherever they will be there in person. Then it will be a more active meeting with contacts and networking. But that wasn't done. So it was very wrong to just cancel at the mid of, or rather at the end of Friday, or even some Saturday, people did not know. And even when you came online, a lot of people didn't really know it was an online thing because communication was not made. So I feel we should learn from it. There's no need talking behind and not being able to address ourselves. We should learn from it so that it doesn't happen again and we don't set the wrong precedents for those coming after us. If we don't want, thank God for pandemic that are above visual. If we want it visual, let's say it that it is visual. But the tradition has been immediately after PDC comes bi-monthly meeting for physical. Please, let's keep to it moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, IPP. Yeah, our advice has been taken and we'll improve on that. Thank you. So, Sec.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone who have commented. It has been noted down and it will be communicated accordingly. So I would like to call on the adoption of the meeting. Sorry, the adjournment first, I think. Yeah. Mr. President, we take a lead on this, please. President, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello? Please
Can you
share
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I should share it again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What should I share? Should I share the minutes of meeting or the agenda?
The agenda, so was next or something.
I think we need to adopt the minute of
We have
meeting.
not adopted the minutes of meeting. That's what I'm saying.
Let's adopt the
on board.
So who is
Hello?
adopting, please?
Sec, go ahead. Adopt the meeting.
It's those that were on online now. Those
Who was
that
online on that day? I know Mr. Festus was there.
I first
I'm adopting. I raised my hand. I adopt. I was on.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Okay, I second it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. You are all welcome to this meeting once again. And I appreciate you, Mr. Joto Long. Yeah, and I'll start with on the agenda. Please, can you help me share that agenda to me now? Sec on the screen so that we'll just go ahead.
All right, I'm doing that. Confirm you can see it.
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it now. So we'll start with the AOB.
Hello, President, can you still see it?
Yeah, I'm seeing it. Yeah.
Okay, so over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I'd like to let me start by AOB. Shall we start with the AOB? Okay. Like we have the upcoming okay, maybe before any other thing, I will allow on our election issue that I will give a chairman election committee to make remarks on what's going on the update on the election. So that we'll be able to know, because that's one of the major things now on our agenda. The chairman IPP, I think you just shed more light on what it is on the update for the election, how far, where we go, where we are at the moment.
Okay. Thank you very much, President. Good morning. And thank you for the privilege to be able to do my last duties as immediate past president. And I had with my team, Dr. Okando as the president representative, Mr. Richard or Professor Richard, Mr. Kasa, and Mr. Ayode. So this team worked election program to bring in new executive. We rolled up first call, second call, and finally last call, and they will put a last date. And we're very happy that for the positions that were supposed to be filled up following our bylaw, we had members volunteering for each of the positions. That's the president-elect, the secretary, treasurer, and delegates. We were able to have positions for them all. And members came out willingly to take their expression of interest. So after due consideration, we had to go through screening. Each of these members that had volunteered were screened following the bylaw and the different sections, looking at membership status, looking at the dues, the obligations to pay dues, and looking at attendance of minimum of 60% attendance in chapter meetings and events were criteria for screenings. And in all, the nomination committee concluded the screenings, and we had 7 members who volunteered for the various positions earlier mentioned, and they were all screened by the bylaw following the mentioned sections. Out of these 7, 6 members met the criteria, while 1 was disqualified. And the 6 members would be officially informed, and the mails will be sent to them. And we would post through emails and through our various media the people that are the nominees that have indicated interest for the various positions for them to be voted for. I would push it here on our screen at the moment, and with the permission of the President, share it as well for us. Now, these nominees are open for voting. We'll work with the global and bring out the voting slide following our schedule for next week. And we encourage every member, those that volunteered and other members, to please vote for them so that we'll be able to pick our leaders. We had 2 people for president-elect, and then we've screened and we have 1. We have 1 person for secretary who screened and he passed through the screening. We have 2 people for treasurer. The 2 of them passed through the screening and they qualified. And then we had 2 people for delegates. The 2 of them passed through the screenings and they are qualified. So far, so good. I wouldn't want to waste our time to be calling the details, but I am placing it on the platform at the moment, and we will share it moving forward for everyone to please cast your vote for them, for us to be able to choose our leaders. Thank you very much, President, and the entire House for the process. The process goes on, and we will call on you to exercise your rights any moment from now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, our IPP and also Chair Election Committee. This is a wonderful development, and our own effort and happiness is for us to have a right sizable of leaders who are trying to aspire to make ASSP great. It is always our joy to make sure that we maintain the tempo of producing very, very reputable leaders that will take up the affairs of ASSP. And I say kudos to that. And I want to urge you to, again, to please adhere to the because we really need a situation whereby we come up with whatever it is within the stipulated time, so that to beat the time by the global, they have give us a deadline, and we think we need to have at least we should be able to come up with the required schedule on any information that we needed to put into our COMT and the rest. So I think it's a good.
Yeah, that have been taken into consideration. We sent a mail to Global. We had set up. We needed to conclude the exercise, get as many volunteers, go through the screenings and results. So now that we have seen the result, but we had shared with them as well when we want our results to be shared to us to meet up with your deadline. We have spoken with them. So today now, after presenting this, we would do a follow-up for the setup. As soon as we follow our program till the voting date, the only thing that's changing is the announcement of the results. And I think we are on the same page with Global. That we can't handle, but we have told them what we wanted. So it will be taken care of.
Okay, thank you very much. Then, okay, I think, sorry, I wanted to talk about the upcoming PDC in Chicago, Illinois. It is high time because the event is coming up from 27 to 29. And we all know that we don't have time now. We need to fast track our preparation, and whatever it is we are to do there, we should be able to know what we plan for now before we move on. So before that, we must be able to know how many people are willing to go this year, and also it will give us a guide on how to prepare. And also I would like to throw it out to members that has been going for all this one, and also the past leaders that have the experience of what it is on our what do you call it, Nigerian night, and the preparation we normally goes with. So, but the most important thing is let us get to know how many people are willing to attend this year. So we'll be able to plan ahead, and at the same time to know how to communicate with Global in terms of preparation and everything. So I think I will throw that to the House so that we should be able to come up with the idea and suggestion of what to do, and also to indicate. So if there are some that are not around, so we extend to them, we need to know so that they can share it and send all the names to the secretary and also to the platform, so that we'll be able to start ahead. That's on that. So let's deliberate on that to hear how it is. And this year, we all know that it's going to hold in Chicago, Illinois. That's from 27 to 29. And we may likely fall in there to reach almost 1st and 2nd of July. And by the global timetable, you are expected to hand over by 30th of June. From that 30th of June, once you enter 1st of July, July, it's expected that you have to hand over to the next president-elect, whereby you will be able to give him all the necessary. So I suggested that because of the time, you can see that before now, normally you see that maybe 23rd, 24th, 25th, they finish the conference, and you can be able to have enough time to even return to your country or wherever before you do that work. So, but this one now, it becomes so tight. I look at it that way now, maybe you just make a handover there. But
so you're putting that in your ear.
Okay, but when we come back in June, then we will select a time for the next meeting in July. Then through that meeting of July, then I will hand over everything within that time. I will do all the necessary ceremony for that. But to make it official and make sure that we follow the due process, I can be able to make the handing over while we are in Chicago for those for that stipulated time, 1st and 2nd of July. And I need more information with regard to that, so that we can go ahead in line with all of ourselves members, so that we know what we are planning is going smoothly without any mistake or anything. Thank you. Let me throw it to the floor. And also, yeah, still again, before that, like we normally used to have our caps hats, normally had engraved with Nigerian flag or something like that. All those things we need to know, the ESCO need to know how we go about it, so that we plan ahead too, knowing if we are going and we are many, and also the PDC, I mean the Nigerian night is going to hold. So we must make sure that we have all those things provided before we depart Nigeria. It is very important that we need to, it's not that I have to be asking one person, how did you do that? How did you, if I throw it now to the house, we'll be able to come up with, okay, this is how it has been done, and everybody will get to know, so that we increase ourselves in knowledge of what is going on in the future even. Thank you.
Okay.
Attention, please.
He has something to say in respect to it. They will hand over. Before it's being done at the global level, from 1st of July, the president-elect takes over and then you hand over. But we've never really had a meeting of handing over in June, because up till June 30th, you are still our president. So thank God for the pandemic that made every one of us go online. You can actually hand over anywhere you are and give your speech, like dropping up your welfare speech, president coming on, the new president coming on July 1st to address us. But please don't do handover in America. It's Nigerian chapter. Let's come home and do your official handover when you eventually, you go off seat and let him come on board. And then during the meeting.
Hello, my president-elect, please just hold on. There is some interaction here, so I want them to finish your announcement before I go on. Just a minute, please. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. You can go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So I think with all the while, we had always had an official handing over during the July meeting in your home country. So I would say, I don't know your return date, even if it's going to be July, but there should be a meeting in July where you officially hand over to the Okando. In Nigeria, whichever venue, we don't know yet, but I think by now we should be able to know our next meeting date, the venue, so that people can start planning. One thing, our meetings notifications are rather coming late. So beginning of the year when we plan our meetings, it enables every other person plan schedule around it. So I would advise that you write up your speech, communicate to us via all our medias, and then he comes on board and hand over. Any other thing within July 1st becomes the new executive's responsibility. But a meeting in July will be where you will hand over officially. There are not two handovers. So I wouldn't recommend you hand over in America when we are here. So come home, hand over to him in our presence, like we normally do, leave the seat, he comes over and continue the meeting, and then it's a smooth succession. That's for handing over. The nomination committee is planning a training immediately after the voting lines have been done and winners are declared. Those new people, we're going to be having a meeting, a 2-day training of leadership with them within June. And this is going to be either when we are in America, but because we are online, we can actually take it anywhere. So you can be in America, you can be in America, you can do your handovers virtually, go off seat, he comes to address us, and the ceremony is done here. Then for Nigerian night and going abroad, I think each person should reach out to you privately or the secretary, whichever way you want to, so that you can actually have a list. But with our experience, we also notice we are in NNPC. NNPC people has their own crew, MPDC people have their own crew. So till you reach out to them, and because they are on company sponsorship, you actually don't know, and many of them will not come to meetings. So thank God you work in NNPC. Try reach out to your people, find out who is going, reach out to members, let them reach out to you so that you will have your list of those going. One, for you to be able to have in mind how many people coming from your country. Then two, watching out for them. We had an experience of one of us that we knew was coming, and 2 days we had not seen him. We had to go. Myself and the past president, Daniel, and our first female president, we had to go to the airport looking for him. And thank God, with our intervention, something went wrong medically, that he was somewhere. We had to take over, took him to the hospital, and it became our care. So if we didn't know he was traveling, nobody would have cared for him. And he was in a strange country. So it's good that you have data of those you are expecting, so that you can follow up. Another major thing, if we fail to plan, we plan to fail. Nigeria's nights, since the inception, when Emeritus Justina put it on, had been a lookout for everybody that comes to global conference. So it's what you need to plan very well. You try to get there on time to check out. Initially, when we waited for global to fix venues for us, plan our meals, they were coming with thousands of dollars. But I think within $3,000, less than $4,000, we were able to hold Nigerian nights. With the last one we did was with Dan. Okay, the Emeritus, at my own time, the pandemic could not allow us to travel. So now that everybody is traveling, we are all looking forward to it. They look forward to it more than you. So one, try and look out for venue that will not be out, that will not be within the conference range, so that we are not paying up to $8,000 for a venue outside. And then plan up with, check online. Oh, I'll be going, I'll try and see whatever assistance I can also help you render. It's not a country I know. I don't know people in Chicago per se, but I think we can go online, find out African restaurants, get our meals prepared, know what it's going to cost, so that you go with money. If you're trying to raise fund, I would say try to raise fund. If it is $10, $50, people can give to you, even if they are not traveling. We do that in past meetings to raise money before you now take from the purse. I don't know if you have money from the purse anyway, but I feel you should raise funds, and we don't have time. June is just next month. There will not be any other meeting. So I think you appeal to us here, those that want to contribute, no matter how much small. At least 6,000 naira will give you $10. If you can give us 50, you can give us 100, can give us 10,000, whatever members give to you, you put together. Not necessarily those that are traveling, everybody, because it's Nigerian night. And then you now take money from it. Because the truth is that you need money to fund it. And it will be good that we get there and fold our hands. Then talking about flag, I think it has to do with every president bringing in different styles of what you want. If you're traveling to Nigeria, it's good that America, it's good that you hold a Nigerian flag to identify yourself. But I think each president has a unique way. So discuss with an ESCO what you actually want. Some presidents went with African attires. Some went with different things to do American auction to sell. Some we did souvenirs to give out, like key holders, flags, name tags, different things that people can actually share to showcase Nigeria. So if it's either you set up a committee or you talk about it within your executives, what you can give that wouldn't necessarily be too expensive, that will represent that green, white, and green, so that during your tenure, we are coming in with something to show that we are Nigerians. I mean, it's not fixed to a particular item, but it depends on what you can do and how much you have to be able to showcase our country and where we are coming from. But I think it's necessary for us to do something. But let everybody that is traveling at least buy Nigerian flag to go with. It will lessen the burden on executives to now be sharing for us there. I think that's the little contribution I have so far on both. Thank you.
All right. Anybody with contribution? Thank you, our IPP. It's a welcome development. Most important thing is you may not know things if you did not ask, and to some extent. To my own thinking was for like any gift given out or going with, particularly my mind just rests to that heart is a good thing, because what I observed during the last 2 years PDC or about the one we were in Denver, many of the other participants from various countries fell in love with that hat. So, and it really portrayed Nigeria very well. So maybe we'll come up with something like that, but we'll throw it even as a suggestion. Many suggestions can come up, maybe something much more than that can come up. And we always, what we should do now, we'll really handle it with the care because of the financial implication of so many things at the moment. And we know how our chapter is not so vibrant because about any fund available or anything. So we are managing ourselves wisely. So in that regard now, we'll constitute a committee whereby they will come up for that one, both executive and the members, particularly those that are having the experience and those that are going. And for that one, I will reach out. I will ensure that I reach out to various organizations whereby I have some information of those that are going, so that we'll get grab some people to be able to give out the list of those going. And even those that are not members will be able to know through the friendship we have with others, so that we'll be able to garner that. In that regard, I really appreciate. And also, we just have to find, just like you said, a venue whereby we will not stress ourselves and make a burden of the incoming administration, so that we make it viable for them, so that everything will be easier in that direction. Thank you so much for that, and we look forward meeting.
Sorry, my president.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah.
Yes,
President, anything we are facing, hat or muffler, those traveling should pay for it.
Yes.
If we are doing hat and the hat is 5,000, it's not the I wants to.
Okay, it's breaking.
It's a muffler. Oh, this is how much for the muffler, where you have green, white, and green, and you put it on whatever you want to wear. They pay for it, so you can now make extra that you want to, from the purse, that you want to give to maybe global president, so very few global executives or visitors. That can be now taken from the purse. But if it's 10 people going, they should pay for that amount of people. So it's whatever you are bringing on board, let us know the cost, how much it's going to be, and they pay to the account or to a particular person. We purchase it on time, and either you share it at that point or when you get there. There should be something light that can easily go into everybody's bag. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, so good development. Anybody with any suggestion?
Yes.
Or?
Yes, I just want to say one or two things. Thank you very much, our IPP. That was very explanatory enough. My own question is, I think actually is not something that is officially documented, but I think I've had it among some of my colleagues during the times we normally go. Then when Global are actually very interested in our Nigerian nights. And I think I've overheard someone, I don't know how far it is true, that's why I want to throw it open here, that I think Global at times equally support us during the Nigerian night. I don't know how far that is true. If it is true, I think it would be a good thing even to be able to add value to it. But if not, all what IPP has rightly said, I think is what we need to start preparing on now. Then secondly, my suggestion to those people that will be going, I think it's always good to keep announcing it going forward now on the platform. And we might just add another flair to it, that those people that will be going, maybe we can create another platform for them to just join, so that at least there will be some kind of interaction before going. That's my own suggestion anyway. So based on that. And if we must go with some Nigerian artifacts and stuff like that, it's always good to declare all these things, even when you get to inside the plane, because of the form that you need to fill and stuff like that, so that all those kind of things will not be confiscated. So those are just my little contribution and questions as regarding global support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Treasurer. It's a welcome development. And exactly, you even remind me again, something I wanted to say when IPP was talking with regard to having the platform whereby for all the attendees, I mean, we put ourselves in a platform. That's how we normally do that. Once we identify those that are going, the platform, WhatsApp platform will be created, and you will be monitoring the activities of all those that are going, or when you landed, where you are at the moment, this and that. During the conference, you pick up to know what is somebody doing, where are you? And that is why even the global come up with the designated hotel, approved hotels for people. But you know, it's very expensive that we normally have to bypass those one, get the place where it suits you more. Otherwise, they have already recommended a place which is safer. They know it is where most of the attendees are, and that is it. And it is exactly what has been extended to even Nigerian chapter. During our PDC or bi-monthly meeting, you may discover that we have designated hotels. We need to identify hotels that are within the walking distance to the venue.
President, please time check. Time check just to prompt us.
Hello?
I'm saying time check. It's in 22 hours. That meeting is supposed to be 1 hour, and we need to wrap up.
We will round up. Sorry, our time conscious, exactly, is very important. So for that one, we normally come up with that one so that we know this is the identified place for our security and safety. So it is very important. We'll continue to make sure that things like that go on for the next upcoming PDC. And at the same time, I think we have said more about that one. Let's consider the time like it's later. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Mr. James' hands is up. I don't know. You want to say one or two things since he's the delegate. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mr. James hands up. Please, Mr. James, make it brief. So we'll watch it.
Very brief. Good morning, all.
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. James.
What our past president has just said. For all those who are going for the PDC, the global PDC, I just want to emphasize. Normally, on the third day of the program, all Nigerian delegates we are supposed to dress in our native attire. It attracts attention and then makes people that go. Nigerians are here and they're going to hold their night. So for those who are going, please try and go with one of your native attire that you're going to wear on that third day in the morning to create awareness that we are still going to hold our Nigerian night. And we'll get, when we get the venue, start letting people know that Nigerian night is going to hold in so and so place. I think that's my contribution. That WhatsApp forum, all those who are going also need to identify there so that we'll keep in touch with ourselves.
Once we are there, even when you're going to leave, where you're going to stay, and all, it's necessary. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, our delegate. One, I think without much time,
President, answer Mr. question.
Okay.
Global supporting. Global
Okay,
does Global not support us with money. What happened when we started? We spoke with Global to co-partner with us. We brought the idea. The first year, we went with donated money in the event. I think the online is convenient, but I think I enjoyed the ASSP when it was physical meetings, because it's once in 2 months, and then you see everybody traveling down, we'll meet again, and then we'll deliberate. You're able to see people physically, get them involved. We donate money, and so we raised money to travel. But we now discovered when we got there, only venue is something else. Only drink, they would give you in small shots, and then call a lot of thousands from you. We could not afford it. So the then president said, okay, they can take money from our purse, because our dues and the global dues are paid to global and paid for us. So they paid the first year, and then we were still owing after all our money. Then the second year, we owed over $7,000 to $8,000. So the only help they do for us, they help us clear that instantly and start taking our money for years. And I tell you, for 5-6 years, our dues were returned back to global to be paying our debt. So Emeritus Daniel now said, no, we have to end this debt. So we cleared up, we've been paying all these debts year after year from one president to another. When it got to President Dunstan, we now decided that we will not ask Global to come and pay for us again, because if Global is paying for you, you are not in control. They give you for $3,000. They give you wine that you cannot even drink, that is not Nigerian wine. They bring bill of 8,000 to you. Without question and answer, you will need to pay it. And because they will be paying it gradually for you, you are continuously in debt to them. So we now told ourselves, you know what, let's leave Global out and do our thing ourselves. And I tell you, the first year was so wonderful, because I think a lot of people drank a full bottle of malt without sharing it with 3 people. We had our own dance. We were not constrained for 2 hours. We were able to bring in Nigerian music. We had our own fun, and it was more. The following year, far more. And we didn't spend 1/4 of what the bill they normally bring. So if they bring $10,000 and you pay $8,000 and you are not owing, so at the end of the day, it was better for us. So they were not helping us in any way, but instead we were incurring more bills. I think I answered you.
Yeah, exactly. That is what transpired.
Thank you, madam, for that.
So let's move on with this one. Let's go to the Young Emerging Profession. Discuss about their upcoming workshop in Lagos. I think recently now they sent, and during the meeting they discussed it. Now they are preparing for a workshop, just like how WISE conducted a workshop, and they need support from the chapter as well, and they are relating very well. So WISE exactly did her workshop, and which was held successfully. It was in last month's concluded. Was, I think it was this month, and yes, last month's 30th. So, and the chapter supported them with the little we have in our purse, and they conducted it successfully. So Young Emerging Profession to come up with the program, and they have a budget and everything, and they have requested for the chapter support for them to be able to do that. And that one now should be in July. I mean, is it in July? Yes. So it's as usual, whatever we give to the wise, if we cannot give more, we cannot just go below that amount given to them. So, and considering our posts, at least we recommend to give them the same amount given to, to the wise. And in that regard now, we are in the waiting to let them know that this is the situation as they requested, and we have approved. And they have a budget, and I think maybe since one of them is around, maybe I want him to shed more light on the development for the upcoming PDC. Let's hear before I made any remarks again. I think SEC chairman for the young. Yeah, you have the floor to talk about it. Let me hear. So let's share the idea.
All right, yeah, thank you, President. I don't know. Monica, are you on call? Let me just take the lead. This is your work stream. Just help us.
Okay.
Monica on call.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon, the House.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so yeah, planning is ongoing in this regard. We actually had a survey with the young emerging professionals in our midst, and through this survey, majority carried that they wanted the event to hold in Lagos. So we decided to hold the event in Lagos. Tentatively, we have a venue. We have contacted regarding that. We had come up with a budget, and the budget had been communicated to the president. And we are in the process actually of raising resources. That's the major point where we are at right now. And then we also have the option of making it a paid event. Okay, making it a paid event, just a token for them. Seeing that we wanted to bring in some experts within the industry, and then we wanted to have a little bit of commitment. So the survey also strayed their minds regarding whether they will be open to the option of payment or not. And a lot of them were willing to pay the token. So we said that they could pay something about 5,000 thereabouts. And we had earmarked speakers within the industry, about 3 speakers. We also had planned plenary section where we'll have members of the YEP also representing, making them part of the panel discussion. And for the date, we have not finalized the date because we need to finalize the date by firming up the venue. We haven't done that. We are still planning to do that. So yeah, this is where we are currently. And we also had come up with draft letters for sponsorship and for the speakers and keynote speakers. Yeah, this is actually where we are right now. So what we are just hoping is once we get support, we write out sponsorship letters to individuals and organizations we have identified to be able to help sponsor the event. We are tentatively looking at between 100 to 150 thereabout persons, but we had pegged it at 100 participants, hopefully. Yeah, so this is just the overview and summary of where we are right now. Thank you so much, House. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Monica. And it's really a welcome development. Believe me, our wise members and also young emerging profession, they are doing extremely so fantastic for this chapter here. They are so wonderful. The program they are coming up with are so much unique in the sense that many people, even from the global, are really appreciating them. more. So we must do whatever we can to make sure that we support them in all directions. And that is my point at all the time. Whatever, be it financially, whatever, moral and everything. So on that regard now, we will make a support to them, just like how I have mentioned, and we are ready. And it doesn't even end from us as a chapter. As individual, we need to sacrifice, give out to our programs. We are sharing knowledge to public, and you know how rewarded you are once you will continue to do that. So let's keep it out at the back of our mind that we are helping the humanity. So let's give out. When they come up with their request, let's give out. I think that's what I will add on that one. And also, when planning for the dates, take cognizance of all the events that we are having in place so that it will not coincide with our program. It's always very important for that. And for the venue, yeah, it doesn't matter wherever you choose. We have to make that sacrifice to go there. I think that is all for that. And also at the same time now, I want to draw your attention that any letter you are sending for sponsorship or anything, let us be in tune with whatever and whoever has been sent, at least for us to have a guide on what it is for the ESCO, to be in the know of the program going on. You have read the letters to this and that. So at least we have it at the back of our mind that we have to have the record of what it is. Thank you so much for that. And I think without much time, we don't have much to discuss. Unless
yeah, sorry, Mr. President. Let me just quickly say this. Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Regarding the letter of sponsorship, you are a part of our group, the YEP group, the executive group, and Mr. Victor is also part of the group. So we have already, there's a conversation going on there. We actually need, sorry, I'm saying it here. We actually need your attention so that we can finalize on that letter. Sorry, I have to bring it up here. And then also the Mr. Victor, which is the team lead, we need so that we can finalize on that. And of course, yes, without your approval, the letters will go out. So that's why we are waiting for you to finalize on that. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. So I will go through the letter. If what do you? Maybe I couldn't get you right. You want me to?
Sir, let's take it offline. I'll just chat you after this meeting. Yes. Thank you, sir.
All right. I take it off. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think without much time taken, let's go to AOB so that we'll see if there is anything to discuss. AOB, please. Sorry, before that, the next venue for the bi-monthly meeting, I think, supposed to be in Port Harcourt, but the date has not been fixed. Wanted to see how the PDC in Chicago. Hello, can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you, President. Go ahead, please. We are short of time.
Yeah. So the next bi-monthly meeting, which is going to be for the handing over, will be in Port Harcourt, slated Port Harcourt, because
see this size, see the other size.
Done everywhere is like.
Our IPP, please, can you mute? We can hear you from the background.
So we slated Port Harcourt. So far, so good. We have done our bi-monthly meeting, Abuja, Warri, Akwa Ibom, and also next one will be in Port Harcourt. We slated Kaduna, but everybody knows how things are, so we cannot just say we could have done this in Kaduna, but as God made it, we have to forget about that. So I think those are the information I wanted to relate. Any other AOB? Well, in the absence of anything, I want to appreciate our coordination. I want to appreciate all the ESCO and those that made this meeting to happen successfully, and also to all the participants, all the attendees, our members. We really appreciate your efforts. We really thank you so much. On behalf of the ESCO, I want to say thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, President.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry. Is it going to be possible, Mr. Sek, if we could have just a group picture?
Yes, we can have participants can unmute their videos.
Thank
You
you.
take your pictures. Are you using the laptop there, Mr. President?
Okay.
Are you using a laptop? If anyone can do it, because the way I configured my system. So is anyone using a laptop who can help us do it? I don't know. My system is.
Okay, I'm using my phone. Is there anybody?
Monica, are you using a laptop? Can you do the screenshot? Or Abanu, can you help us with the screenshot? Is this something you can do?
Mr. Abanu, you are around, Abby?
I am on my tablet. I will not be able to do that.
Is anybody using a laptop? Can you assist? Mr. George, are you on call?
While we are adjusting, President, please permit me to say something. Yeah, for the nominations that we had put on board, I want to say, if we see some of them are just 1-1, so please, I'm enlightening us here, and I will say it on the platform. Let's not say, oh, this person is just 1, so I will not vote. Please, I'm encouraging everybody to vote. At global standard, even if it is 1 person, if the vote does not meet up the percentage, the person might not be accepted. And if the person has a lot of against, even if it's 1 person, the person might not be accepted. So please, people had volunteered to come and lead and serve. It's service. Let's support them. Let's vote our candidates. Where we even have 1 person, please, let your vote count that you support.
Yes, it's very important. Okay, yeah.
We've lost her. Hopefully she will be back. Victor, you can tell them. I've seen a lot of blank cameras here. People cameras are not on. And if I will have to take pictures, how do we do that?
Let everyone open mute his camera, please, so that we can just have it quickly and. Mr. George, can you be able to see others?
Yeah, I'm going to take it. If we are ready, please let's give ourselves a good look. I'll take it and forward it to you via WhatsApp. All right.
Thank you.
At the count of 3, 1, and 2. Let me take it again. 3.
Yes, hand up.
Yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1, 0. I'll take one more time. One more time, just for emphasis. There we go. That's fine. I'll forward.
I can see you, Madam Fatima, Mr. Festus, Mr. Gaba. Oh,
my IPP.
Madam Monica.
Thank you, everyone.
It's obvious.
Motion for adjournment. Motion for adjournment. Motion for adjournment.
Seconded. Dr. Kando, you should have shown your face now.
I'm telling you, he doesn't like showing his face. He knows what he's doing.
Doctor, bring out your camera now.
Let's see your face.
Brima, I can see you all.
Good morning, madam.
Morning and bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
People should contribute more information. I can go to Global.
Baba James. Baba James.
Looking up to you.
Yes. Who are you looking up to?
The treasurer said, "Can give me some dollars."
Oh my God. you know how it be now. No problem. No problem. Well done, sir. All right.
Thank you. Bye for now. Thank you.